We just signed the bilateral trade agreement, very exciting milestone for the relationship between India and Israel. This agreement basically gives clarity and stability to investors, foreign investment for both sides, to Indians that want to come to Israel.
This is a monumental event that has happened. Both countries will have easy market access to each other's markets. $4 billion. That's the number for the annual bilateral trade agreement between India and Israel. And the finance ministers of India and Israel have recently signed a bilateral investment agreement that is going to help skyrocket these numbers. Namaskar, Shalom, and welcome. My name is Ravital Moses, aka Moses in Israel, your favorite Indian Jew, born and raised in India and now living in Israel. And my goal is to bridge India and Israel one video at a time. And today we're going to talk about how the bilateral ties between India and Israel go beyond diamonds and agriculture.
Investment agreement which is signed just a few hours back.
Yes.
Give us details about that and how will it pave the way for the free trade agreement?
Okay, so thank you very much. Indeed, we just signed the bilateral trade agreement, very exciting milestone for the relationship between India and Israel. This agreement basically gives clarity and stability to investors, foreign investment for both sides, to Indians that want to come to Israel and Israelis that want to come to India. There's a huge potential between the countries in terms of investment. We already have investments from both sides and we want to increase that. So this is what the agreement does. I believe it will also pave the way to free trade agreements, and there's already some discussions, pre-negotiations I would call it, between the two countries, and that I believe will come in the next few months.
Minister just indicated that you will be completing that in few months. Is there any timeline which is set?
There's no clear timeline. As you understand, we are currently in a situation, a global situation, where India is very much preoccupied with the United States and with the EU, and Israel is actually also negotiating with the United States. So there's a lot of things on the plate, but once things will clear out, I'm sure we will find the time.
Any figure you have now target between the two countries? How much trade you want to see in this much time?
So we don't have an official target because it's very hard to know, and there's a lot of factors, but we definitely believe very clearly that we can easily double and triple the trade between our countries and the investments between our countries in various areas.
Who is this person? He's definitely not. I know a lot of people might get confused. So let me tell you that this is not the finance minister of Israel. That is somebody else. This is the chief economist of Israel. That's Dr. Shmuel Abramson. I think he's recently become very popular because he was interviewed by a lot of Indian TV news channels. So that's him. So let me give you context. September is actually a very good month. First of all, it was my birthday. If you haven't wished me yet, go down in the comment section and send me your beautiful wishes. I received so many beautiful wishes on my last video, so thank you so much. I'm actually a bit overwhelmed. There's something that happened in the first week of September. On Monday, September 8th, 8 तारीख को, there was an investment, a bilateral investment agreement that was signed by finance ministers of India and Israel in New Delhi. This is a monumental event that has happened, and we are going to discuss why. Okay, so let me give you some information. Israel and India signed a bilateral agreement on Monday, that is September 8th, to facilitate mutual investment flows and encourage economic cooperation and trade between two countries. बहुत बड़े words है, बहुत बड़े jargons है, but to say in layman's language, दोनों side की जो investors हैं, India and Israel में, for them to be able to invest in each other's country, ये agreement sign किया हुआ है. Okay, the bilateral investment agreement was signed in New Delhi in the presence of Finance Minister of Israel, Bezalel Smotrich, and his Indian counterpart, that is our Indian Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. Those photos have gone viral, by the way. Everybody was posting. मैंने खुद ने post किया था, and I was like, okay, this is real, because we were only talking about this, I think वो हवे में से through grapevine public के पास से news पहुंच गया था कि कुछ तो होने वाला है. But what does this mean? So This is like a strategic step that will open new doors for both Indian and Israeli investors. ठीक है? It is going to strengthen exports and provide businesses on both sides with certainty, because sometimes when you're investing and then if people have businesses on both sides, काफ़ी अनप्लान्ड होता है और पब्लिक को पता नहीं होता है कि रिस्क क्या है, और अगर लॉसेस हुए तो कॉम्पनसेशन होगा कि नहीं. That people had no idea, but I think this agreement has solidified a lot of those things.
And most of the trade right now, the majority of the trade I can say is defense between the two countries. Are there other areas which you are trying to explore, like startups and other things, in which the agreement, the intensity will increase?
Yes, so absolutely. So it's not only trade. We have and not only defense. I'm sorry. There's various areas already. We have diamonds, and we have manufacturing of different kinds of electrical goods that India provides, and so forth. I believe there's also really a lot of potential in services, as we can talk about technologies, financial services. We want to see Indian financial firms operating in Israel. We can see more technology, more areas of the economy like energy, agriculture, and so forth.
A lot of the people said that there is a free trade agreement that is currently under discussion. अभी तो negotiation चल रहा है इंडिया और इजराइल के बीच में. What is a free trade agreement? It is a treaty between two or more countries that aims to reduce or eliminate barriers to trade. ठीक है, tariffs हो सकते हैं, quotas हो सकते हैं, limits on quantities हो सकते हैं, या import export restrictions हो सकते हैं. Anything to do with cross border logistics and tariffs and regulations, वो थोड़ा सा ease off होगा. Both countries will have easy market access to each other's markets. अभी इसका benefit क्या है? ठीक है? Now it really depends who you're talking about, okay? Because India is focusing more on make in India products, right? तो इसमें इंडिया को कैसे benefit हो सकता है? I think for India it's more like you get धंधा. Okay, और मिलना भी चाहिए, because we have the talent, we have the manufacturing infrastructure, we are also loyal to the country that we sign with. Lower prices for consumers, more choices of goods and services. I think these things that I'm talking about is more for Israel, because Israel is a small country. Talent है, but scale up करने का जो scene है, that is not in Israel. अगर स्केल अप करना है, या लेट्स सी इनके पास टेक्नोलॉजी है या कोई कंज्यूमर प्रोडक्ट है, सर्विस है, और उनको टेस्ट करना है, दे कैन एक्चुअली पार्टनर विथ इंडिया टू बी एबल टू टेस्ट देयर प्रोडक्ट. और अगर स्केल अप भी करना है टू द एशियन ऑडियंसेस, India is a good playground. Of course, it also encourages cooperation between nations and it boosts exports and economic growth. Now, also keep in mind, Israel is the first OECD nation to sign an investment treaty with India. OCD nahi, OECD, which means Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay, kya hai ye OECD? It is an international organization with 38 member countries that are generally considered to be economically developed. बहुत ही बढ़िया, because I think जो पहला प्यार होता है वो बहुत स्पेशल होता है. सो सेम इन दिस केस, जो पहला अग्रीमेंट है फ्रॉम द OECD nations or whatever, I think it's going to be quite special, and Israel has set like a level of expectation. इंडिया और इसराइल के बीच में काफ़ी ट्रेड होता है, ठीक है, बस वो कमर्शलाइज नहीं है या इसके अराउंड लोग बात नहीं करते ज़्यादा, बट द बायलैटरल ट्रेड स्टैंड्स अराउंड $4 billion. बिलियन, मेरे को तो ज़ीरो काउंट भी करने नहीं आते बिलियन में. जस्ट जनरली माई मैथ इज़ नॉट सो स्ट्रॉन्ग, बट I know that billion is a strong number. ठीक है, and from April 2000 to March 2025, Indian investments in Israel are around $443 million. बहुत पैसा डाला हुआ है भाई. And then Israeli FDI have put around $334 million in India. FDI क्या होता है? Foreign Direct Investment. ठीक है, when an entity could be a company, investor, individual, government from one country invests in a business in another country with a long term interest, उसको बोलते हैं FDI. ठीक है, क्यों करेंगे इन्वेस्ट, उनको क्या चाहिए, दे ईदर वो लाइक नीड अ स्टेक और दे वांट सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस और दे वांट ओनरशिप for these reasons. And I think from what I understand, Israel focuses a lot on high-tech agriculture, water and R&D. ये उनके मतलब areas of expertise है, so they have invested in these industries. But from what I'm hearing, they're also going to be investing in fintech. But अभी तक मतलब इसका मतलब चर्चा हो रहा है, but I haven't seen any significant stuff. Let's talk about India. What can they invest in? Infrastructure in Israel. Investment in Israeli infrastructure is something that Israel is looking for. Okay? One major example, the Adani Group is holding a port in Haifa. Very powerful. Very significant. I think it's a big deal. मुंबई में और दिल्ली में कैसे मेट्रोज बनाए हुए हैं, वैसे इजराइल में फिलहाल मेट्रो का काम चल रहा है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. सो इफ इंडिया कैन पार्टनर विथ इजराइल इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनीथिंग टू डू विथ transportation infrastructure or like light rail metro infrastructure, I think that could be a very good investment. The finance minister of Israel also mentioned that India is a growing economic power and cooperation is a tremendous opportunity for Israel. एक बात ध्यान में रखिए, इंडिया का ग्रोथ इतना फास्ट हो रहा है ना, द कंट्रीज हु हैव बीन प्रॉस्परिंग फॉर years now, they cannot ignore it anymore and they want to have partnerships and investments. It's amazing and we should totally do it, और लिया भी है. But in the future और भी countries आएंगे, which is good news for us. This is going to be the time for us to scale up our economy, our reputation, and take back what was ours, our pride. That's it for today. If you think this is a great partnership, go down in the comment section and let me know which other bilateral agreements should be signed between India and Israel. In the meantime, stay safe, watch the right content, and I'll see you next time.